Hello and welcome back to That's Metal, Britannic channel here, YouTube, and welcome to another album review. Today's review is for another Doomsday's Today Records release. Is for the third full-length album from Massachusetts-based industrial black and death metal band Invertia, and of course it's titled The Biddings of Tyrants. Now, this was originally released on December 9th, 2016, though independently. Doomsday's Today Records wouldn't release it until, at least on cassette here, until 2018, which would have been 2 years later. Now, again, this is their third full-length album. The band, when I looked on to Metal Archives, it seems to be unknown when they were formed, like what year, month, day, so on. However, let's just keep it that way. Let's just keep it unknown because it just adds to the mystery of the band. Now, of course, I do know that it definitely was formed by Dave Coppola and Tim Winson, who are definitely the only two members here. So, without further ado, let's definitely get into the actual album itself. So, again, I'm at least reading off the Bandcamp page for at least on Doomsday's Today's Records Bandcamp page, at least when it comes to the description here, because I think it definitely perfectly in many ways definitely sums up the album for sure, but soon I'll definitely get into some of the songs and some other little details, but still, again, these guys definitely play a pretty cool brand of industrial based influence, black and death metal. But here, Invertia's The Bidding of Tyrants still retains the Invertia sound of industrial black metal with added elements of death metal and hardcore punk. The album as a whole, musically and lyrically, focuses on the world around us and its effect on the human psyche. And that definitely, in many ways, that definitely sums up pretty much the whole of what you get with this album. This album also definitely is not a relatively long album. It's only about 10 songs and clocks in at almost a little over 32 minutes. It's not a really long album, but it gets the job done. I mean, it gets what it has to do and doesn't completely overstay its welcome. It's a fucking brash, chaotic, fucking album. So, I definitely want to get into some of the details, because it actually features two guest musicians, mostly two guest drummers. The first guest drummer here is Aaron Rossi of Ministry and Prong fame, who of course performs drums on the songs Dystopiate, which is a killer, thrashy death metal romp, Non-Sunni, and The Forever Incision, which has a pretty infectious riff all around. It's another great track. So those are the three songs that Aaron Rossi plays drums on. The last guest drummer on here is Kevin Talley, of course, of bands of Suffocation, Dying Fetus, Them, the King Diamond inspired metal band, and 6 Feet Under, who of course performs drums on the song Scatter, another crusher here, and Not for Taste. But it doesn't end there, at least with some of the great songs. I mean, they definitely do a great job, and those definitely have a real cool, natural feel to them. They're definitely cool songs, but again, there's other great songs that I could definitely can pick out. The opener, which is Another Big Brother, which is a fucking crushing song here. And the very last two songs for me, Existence, Exit, and Trapped and Tailored, which are all great tracks that end the album. So, fuck. There's not a bad song for me on this album. This is definitely one I thoroughly enjoy, and I'm actually going to give this album a rating. It's actually a 8 out of 10 for me. Normally, with the last two Doomsday Today's Records releases, I didn't really give ratings because there were just some albums that I had a real. It was almost kind of difficult to almost kind of sum up, at least in a rating of how interesting and different those albums are. But this one is definitely was something I felt very comfortable definitely giving a rating. And again, this is a very solid album. Again, this is our third full-length album. Again, I am very new to this band. Of course, most of the stuff that was given from Paul of Doomsday's Today Records in that promo pack, well, definitely some of those artists I was definitely not completely familiar with. So there was definitely some stuff that was gonna be really new to me, and it was really gonna really open more my mind, some newer stuff. But this one right here, going into it, I didn't know what to completely expect, but this was really something cool. I actually dug this. As far as comparisons, as far as the death metal elements, it definitely remind me of at times maybe later era D-side really just comes to mind. I know, again, there's a lot of connections to some classic death metal bands. Again, for example, Suffocation. I know I'll get shit for even saying 6 Feet Under, but the albums that at least Kevin Taylor played on, albums such as Undead and Unborn, I think were some of the two of the best stuff I think 6 Feet Under it probably did in quite a while. And to get that drummer to actually play at least on 2 songs in here, and they're definitely a great, excellent pieces for this album. So with that, if you're definitely are not familiar with Invertia, and if you definitely like industrial-based black and death metal, or just like death metal general or black metal, this is definitely a cool album to check out. I'll definitely leave links to not just the band's actual Bandcamp page, but also leave a link to Doomsday's Today's Records Bandcamp page to check out the album, and so on, since again there's samples on both their 2 pages. The only thing that is not going to be present on both those 2 pages is at least options to buy this album physically. I don't know where you can buy it at this point and get it physically. I mean, I do have it in my hand, but I don't know if I have the last copy that is in my hand. Who knows if you have to probably contact Paul of Doomsday's Today Records to actually probably look into getting a physical copy. So I don't know if he still has any copies left or if they are up for sale. I don't know. Who knows? It probably went out of print as far as I know. But still, with all that said, if you're definitely just interested in the sampling it, again, there are samples on those 2 pages. So with all that said, this is a great album. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed this. Every Thrash-Eyed Sam out. And I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.